Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to cut this hat out. It should be very, very simple to cut the hat out. And we're going to add the hat on the baby's head. And then we can also cut the baby out of this background and put him on just something different, like maybe a blue background or something. So with the layer selected where the hat's on, we're going to just go over here, grab our quick select tool. And this should be very easy. Just go around the white. Look at that, we already have the whole hat selected. So we're gonna add a mask around it. Over here in mask or adjustments and mask panel. Mask panel, click this little guy to add a mask. We need to invert the selection so that we have the actual hat selected. We're gonna refine the mask edge. We're gonna adjust the radius some, maybe something like 5. We'll smooth it some, maybe like smoothing 5. We'll feather it maybe 2 pixels. Let's see, we're going to shift the edge inwards so we don't have this glow. Yeah, something like negative 55% is probably pretty good. And we're going to, we can actually decontaminate colors with this one because it's black and white. The amount, I don't know if the amount would actually, yeah, the amount changes something, some things. We'll just go decontaminate 100. We're going to output to new layer with layer mask. Then hit OK. You can use smart radius if you want. We're going to hit OK. So now we have our hat. What I need to do is actually delete this layer mask. So we have our duplicate layer just in case we need to go back and make changes, but we're doing non-destructive editing with using masks, so at any time we still have the full image. I just enable this layer mask again. Now what we need to do is with this the picture selected of the hat, we need to scale it. So we're going to go to edit, free transform, and that gives us this little box around the hat. We're going to grab one of these corners up here so you can go in and out and click and drag. We're going to hold down shift as we do the dragging, and that will give us a perfect dimensions. It won't flatten the image or de-widen it. It will remain intact as far as percentage goes. And we're just going to be cutting down the hat size to make it fit this baby's head. That's probably pretty good. We might need to go a little bit more. And something like that. We can actually flatten the hat just a little bit so we're not losing too much around the baby's eyes. Okay, so that's good. You see, we can't see the baby's head over here, and you can't see it here. It looks like it's going to be on him, but we do have a problem. This white, which we'll remove, it's fine because it's part of the mask. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter, or you can hit the check mark up here. That will save the transformation. We need to remove this white, so what we're going to do is select our mask in the layers panel. Make sure the mask is selected. And we're going to select our paintbrush tool. And we're going to make sure that we have black selected. Again, we can swap back and forth between foreground and background color using the little arrow things over here or by hitting X on the keyboard. So we have black selected, and I'm just going to go in and paint. Oops. I'm just going to paint this away. Now I'm going to use probably a pretty hard brush. Okay, so I got rid of that. That little white part's gone because we painted on the mask. So next thing we're going to do is cut this baby out. We're going to hit the little eyeball here to hide this layer with the hat. We're going to duplicate the baby layer, and we're going to do the same thing that we just did with the hat. What we're going to do is, with this layer selected with the baby on it, we're going to do quick select tool, click and drag around the baby, and okay, so it's selected everything. Now what we want to do is refine the selection. So we're going to hold down Alt and click inside the baby and just drag around his skin. And you can let go of you can like click multiple times. You don't have to just click and drag, but just make sure you're holding Alt, and Shift does the opposite. Shift will add pieces back in, but we don't want pieces back in. So we have a pretty nice selection here. We're going to do the same thing. Go up here to the mask panel, add a mask around it, invert it because we want the baby selected. Refine the mask edge. We're going to choose a radius somewhere probably around 8. Smoothing, sure, why not? Feathering, not too much, maybe 1 pixel. We can't really decontaminate the colors. I don't think we could use smart radius either. But what we can do is make some fine adjustments. The baby's hair is not showing. Actually, you know what? The hair doesn't even matter because there's a hat covering it. But yeah, we have a basic selection. This is fine. This is what we want. If we check show radius, it's got everything. So we're going to output to new layer with layer mask. Hit OK. And the next thing we're going to do is actually go around the baby and paint with some black brush to hide bits and pieces like this part down here, this part above his shoulder, around his arm right here. But we also need a background. So let's create that right now. There's a couple ways to create a background. You can, if you want, go up here to the layer panel, go to new fill layer, and fill it with a solid color. Or you can click right here to create a new layer. That'll give us this new layer in our layer panel. The button's right here next to the trash can. Or you can layer new layer. And let's go ahead and just create a new layer. Layer's transparent by default. What we're going to do is fill this layer with this blue color that we have selected. You can select any color you want. To fill it though, make sure this layer is selected. We're going to go to Edit, then Fill. And we're going to use the foreground color. And voila! We have a blue background. Now remember, layer stack, so we need to click and drag the blue background layer below the baby. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in here using Control plus or minus. Holding down spacebar, we can move around. We need to start painting some of this away. So to do that, let's select the mask of the baby right here. Select our paintbrush tool. We do have black selected, so that's good. Black's going to hide, white's going to show. And we need to refine the hardness. We want to make this pretty soft, probably like 20% soft. Yeah, 20% is going to be good. And if I zoom in here, change the size of the brush, just start painting that black around. I actually changed my softness down to probably 0% for you could do 0% just to get around his thumb. The next thing over here, we need to remove this. We'll remove that a little bit. And that's good. There's some around his arm. You know, I'm not going into too much detail here. So we removed the bits and pieces that we needed to. Now we can also color back in some bits and pieces that were removed or they were made a little bit transparent. But that's good. So we have this baby on the background. We'll click the eyeball to make the hat visible again. And there you go. That's how you do multiple images.